If you only knew the power of the dark side.
Welcome once again, my fellow manipulators of Digital Fate. I'm Richie, this is Capricorn. It is the week of May 4th, so what better way to celebrate Star Wars than by having some themed decks, and this is the first one I want to put out there. This is called DARKSIDE. The idea of this deck is to take traditional mono red and completely turn it on its head, add just a little bit of black, darken it up, so to speak, and make a really interesting burn deck with a ton of synergies in it that just makes it way more interesting to play than traditional mono red, while still just smacking the face and killing them outright super fast, as fast or possibly even faster than traditional mono red. I'm loving the deck. It's full of tons of synergies and interactions that I love. Before we get to the deck, make sure you like the video and subscribe so that we can bring in more people to check out the channel. We've got deck techs coming up all week, so look forward to that. May the Force be with you. Let's check out the deck. Alright, so this is DARKSIDE Red. The idea here was to take some of the fundamentals of mono red, but swerve it in a completely different direction and put my own spin on it and make mono red fun to play, which it normally isn't. It's kind of just smash everything onto the board, turn everything sideways, and hope you kill them before you lose. And it's not normally my favorite way to play, but this deck focuses more on spells and direct damage and some interesting interactions between cards, and I really love it. So the core of the deck revolves around Mechanized Warfare. We're slamming this on the board for 3. It's an enchantment. If a red or artifact source we control would deal damage to an opponent or a permanent an opponent controls, it deals that much damage plus 1 instead. It's worth noting it only deals extra damage to the opponent's things, so it won't deal extra damage to our battles because we technically control our battles. So keep that in mind. But there was a deck a couple of seasons ago, a couple sets ago, that utilized Mechanized Warfare in conjunction with things like End the Festivities. For 1 mana, it deals 1 damage to each opponent and each creature and planeswalker that opponent controls. So we saw some decks a couple sets ago that would utilize this card, and it would actually be pretty good with Mechanized Warfare because you're sweeping the board for 2 damage. All of your creatures are dodging that damage because it only hits their side. It also hits their planeswalkers, and it does 2 to the head when you have a Mechanized Warfare out. So this card actually becomes really, really good with Mechanized Warfare. So my thought is, why don't we take it a step further with the new set, and we'll also pair it with Invasion of Regatha. This comes down as a battle, does 4 damage to our opponent's head right away, and then 1 damage to up to 1 target creature. But if we have the Mechanized Warfare in play, now we're hitting the opponent for 5, which is a quarter of their total health, and we're able to shock a creature for free, which is pretty significant. Not only that, but we could theoretically chain one Invasion of Regatha into another Invasion of Regatha and use it to flip the first Invasion of Regatha, as long as we can find 1 extra point of damage somewhere, which is really nice. But being able to turn that 1 damage to a creature into something relevant, like being able to shock a creature, is kind of huge. And then I went 1 step further from that. We're gonna throw in 2 Seismic Waves because they kind of go along the same lines. This is 3 mana, do 2 damage to any target, and then 1 damage to each non-artifact creature target opponent controls. So if we have Mechanized Warfare in play, we're doing 3 damage to anything, and then 2 damage to every creature. So we can effectively hit something for 5 and then everything else for 2. Sweep the board, kill a Sheoldred, that sort of thing. It can be really good. But Seismic Wave can also target the Invasion of Regatha and hit it for 2 or 3 if a Mechanized Warfare is out. We can also just target the head, hit the head for 2 or 3 if a Mechanized Warfare is out, sweep the board for 2. It has a lot of versatility. It is a little expensive, and Regatha is better, so we are only sticking to 2 here. But I think the 2 Seismic Waves, along with the 4 End the Festivities, makes a nice package of 6 cards that can pseudo-sweep the board in conjunction with Mechanized Warfare, which is nice. One of the downsides of Mechanized Warfare in previous builds is that if you don't get the Mechanized Warfare, some of these cards just aren't quite good enough. Seismic Wave is kinda eh. End the Festivities is kinda eh. So how do we make these cards and things like Invasion of Regatha a lot better if we don't get our Mechanized Warfare? And that's when I realized Mirrodin Avenged, or the functional reprint of You Are Already Dead. So we have 5 copies total for Mirrodin Avenged, 1 You Are Already Dead, and the idea here is we can cast this at instant speed for only 1 mana to destroy any creature that was dealt damage this turn, and then draw a card to replace itself. So in this deck, this card kind of acts like an opt that also makes sure to kill their really big thing as a silver lining, sort of, to just incidentally dealing 1 damage to it. So if we play End the Festivities and they have a big creature that it doesn't kill, just 1 mana lets us kill it with Mirrodin Avenged and draw a card to replace it. And a deck like this, like Mono Red in particular, typically runs out of gas really fast. So being able to have our removal, redraw a card to replace itself, and maybe just barely get to where we need to get to close out the game before we run out of gas can be really important. But this doesn't just work with End the Festivities. It works with Seismic Wave, and more importantly, it's another thing that makes Invasion of Regatha really good, because even if we don't have the Mechanized Warfare, if we're doing 4 damage to the dome, and then 1 damage to any creature, we can hit their biggest creature for just 1 damage incidentally with this thing, and then just pay 1 more mana, destroy it outright with Mirrodin Avenged, and draw a card. And what pushes all of this over the top even more is we're playing multiple spells, right? If we play an End the Festivities and then a Mirrodin Avenged to kill their biggest dude, we're double spelling for only 2 mana and drawing a card that could potentially get us another spell to play for another mana. All of that can trigger prowess. The Mechanized Warfare itself is a non-creature, so it triggers prowess. The Invasion of Regatha triggers prowess. All of these things that help us to trigger prowess so effectively work really, really well with Khenra Spellspear. This is a 2/2 trample prowess for 2 mana. For 3 mana and 2 life, because we don't have a blue source in this deck, we can transform it into the Spellstalker. It becomes a 3/3 trample with double prowess and ward 2. And that part is what's important. If we can get down the Spellspear on turn 2, and they don't kill it by the time we untap, and we transform this, now we pretty much have a free turn where they're probably not going to have enough mana to kill it, and this thing becomes a huge threat. The double prowess is insane. If we have a Spellstalker on the field, and we go End the Festivities, You Are Already Dead, or Mirrodin Avenged, and then any other spell after it that we draw into with the Mirrodin Avenged, that's 3 triggers, wiping the field for 2 damage, killing their biggest thing, and this thing swinging in for 9 as a trampler with ward 2, that can be absolutely devastating. The rest of the deck is sort of complementing all of these synergies. So we have 4 Kumano faces Kakkazan, because it's another way to put a creature on the field while also triggering prowess itself. So if we play it on 1, play it for 1 after we have prowess creatures out, it's going to trigger the prowess. It's going to deal an extra damage. If we have Mechanized Warfare in play, that chapter 1 is going to deal 2 damage. And then when it flips into the creature, we have another creature on board to swing in with that's also going to do more damage from the Mechanized Warfare. So being able to play something that triggers prowess on cast for Swiftspear and Spellspear, while also becoming a creature eventually itself, is really important, because it allows us to keep our non-creature spells high, things that can trigger prowess. We can keep a high amount of them in the deck so that we have a lot of things to trigger prowess, while still having enough creatures in the deck to swing in with. And so we do have the 4 copies of the Swiftspear to get the prowess there. It has haste. It gets all the pumps from all the things we're playing. We've got 4 play with fire, because it's really cheap removal. that can also hit the head, that gets all of the benefits from the prowess triggers we want to trigger and the Mechanized Warfare, but we can also hit the head and scry one, which in this deck can be important if we need to dig for another land, because we have a reasonable amount of 3-drops. We can scry into another land by hitting the dome. It gives us just that little bit of digging power that helps us deal with having a slightly lower land count than we probably should have for the amount of 3-drops we have. And then we also have 2 Vindictive Flamestoker, and this is just a way to very easily refill our hand if we're running out of gas. If we can happen to get this guy down early, we're getting all of these non-creature spells to trigger it and put oil counters on it, and then later in the game when we're out of gas, we can sack this for 1 or 2, or sometimes maybe 3, but usually just 1 mana to just refill our hand completely, and then we should have enough gas to just close the game outright with all of our burn. Other than those cards, we have a couple of one-ofs. We have 1 Feldon Ronom Excavator. This is something I might add more of, but it's hard to fit everything we want to in this deck, and we want to have as many non-creatures as possible. So right now I'm just running 1, which feels fine since it's legendary, but a nice little piece of extra silver lining synergy that lies with Feldon when it lines up with Invasion of Regatha. If we don't have our Mechanized Warfare online, and we are just slamming Invasion of Regatha to do 4 to the head, and that 1 damage to a creature isn't going to get us much value, if we have a Feldon in play, we can at least target the Feldon with it, do 1 damage to it, and then that lets us exile a card from the top of our library and be able to play it until the end of our next turn, which can be huge. So having the 1 Feldon to synergize with the Invasion of Regathas, I think is pretty key in this deck. We've also got 1 Bloodfeather Phoenix because we have plenty of instants and sorceries that deal damage. So if we can just get this 1 out, our opponent kind of can't ever remove it. We can just keep bringing it back over and over every time we cast a damaging spell, even if it's just an End the Festivities. Like, then we can just pay 1 red mana, bring the Phoenix back with haste, slam our opponent in the head, attack our battle, whatever the case may be. Sometimes it's enough to close out the game. Again, like Feldon, this is something I'd like to add more of, but I think the first one is the most important, because if you get the first one, you can keep bringing it back, whereas if you get a second one in your hand, it's not as good because you're probably only bringing 1 back a turn regardless. So if we can just get the 1 out, I feel like having 1 Bloodfeather Phoenix and 1 Feldon is better than having 2 Feldons or 2 Bloodfeather Phoenix, if that makes any sense. And with the same kind of mindset, we have 1 copy of Squee. This is a legendary creature, so it's kind of better to just have the 1 than to at least have none. And we get more value off having 1 Squee, 1 Feldon, 1 Phoenix than having 3 of either of those, in my opinion. This comes down, swings in for damage, makes an extra dude immediately that's swinging in for damage. So if we get to make 2 bodies that are swinging in with haste, we're kind of able to exponentially take advantage of the Mechanized Warfare here, where we're doing 2 extra points with Mechanized Warfare instead of the 1, because each creature is able to do an extra point of damage, which is nice. Also, we're putting tons of cards in our graveyard because of this being sort of a prowess-centric deck. The Mirrodin Avenged, the You Are Already Dead, going into our graveyard, and then drawing us another card that might be something that we play that goes into our graveyard. It's a lot easier to fill this graveyard up than in a typical mono red, so getting to that point where we can pay the 4 and bring them out of the yard by exiling 4 cards from our graveyard happens a lot easier in this deck than it would normally happen in mono red, I feel, which is really nice. The mana we need to make this happen is mostly red. Everything in the deck makes red since we only have 5 black cards. So 7 mountains, 1 Sokenzan, and then all of our black sources are just dual lands so that everything can still make red. So we're running 4 Cliffs, 4 Haunted Ridge, 4 Sulfurous Springs. The deck kills very quickly, but it's also very good against mono red itself because we have so many ways of sweeping their board and they're kind of reliant on their creatures, and we're doing that without necessarily slowing down the damage output on our side, which is really awesome. So dare say I think this might be sort of a mono red killer in a way, while also kind of being mono red itself. I don't know. Welcome to the dark side. Let's check out the games. We can keep this. End the Festivities and You Are Already Dead is sick. Well, I view it as it's like it's opt. It's like playing with a 54 card deck. We just get to our other stuff quicker and more efficiently because it draws a card when you use it. The fact that it can also trigger prowess and stuff is just gravy. What really makes it usable is there's so many things in this deck that can just hit for 1 damage. Like, as just extra value, like not really intending to. So it's just, there's just so many ways to actually use it. And the Festivities is a sorcery. That's fine. We'll just get out the Warfare if he insists on being cheeky. We have a million options for clearing his board. If he plays something too big for Seismic Wave to deal with, which he did not. Makes sense. Swing just 1. So he can draw a card. We'll just do this. He'll draw a card, we'll wipe his board, then we're way ahead. Start dropping our Mechanized Warfares. Start cycling through our You're Already Dead. Wait, how did this not get hit? Oh, non-artifact. Interesting. That's fine, we've got to End the Festivities to clean up. I still would have done that, I think. How cheeky do we want to get? Guess we just do it like this. Get out of here. You'd get a strike. A strike or warcrafting. I kind of think we just need to get the Spellspear down, but that feels really greedy. It's a lot of wasted mana, but I just think we have to do it. If he gets 1 more land, he can pump all of his guys up to 2/2s. Alright. We've got Regatha. We can't even use the You Are Already Dead because we're going to kill it too soon. That's so funny. That is so funny. I mean, we have to do it like this. And we have to kill you. and then we should be racing. Right? Just hit the Regatha. I'm surprised he didn't try to block it. That's fine. He'll hit us for 5. We'll go to 11. Oh no, he's going to put it on that. Interesting. Very interesting. I don't think he can quite kill us. 3-3. We trade. We could trample. Means he has to block with the Siege Veteran. We're just kind of 1 mana short of what I want to do. He has to double block. Oh, he's just gonna do a thing. Sick. Alright, we'll play out the Phoenix. I think we just win next turn. Recruitment officer. Ooh, he's got a Brutal Cathar. Means we gotta go big. Let's see, double prowess. Ward 2. Non-creature source would deal damage to a creature. I don't think we can flip it. I think we gotta just play another one. And swing. We are sort of throwing away 1 Spellspear. Interesting. It's a lot of damage you took. What do you eat? He can only hit us for 11 right now. Alright, he's worried about the attacks. So if we kill the Brutal Cathar, we just kill him outright with Invasion of Regatha. That's risky. That's some risky business right there. Draw a card. Oh boy. Let's fucking go. Go big or go home, baby. Welcome to Tremble. Sexy chat. Alright, we'll keep this. This looks fine. We got a really good setup. We can end the festivities, Mirrodin Avenged. We're almost definitely just playing Bloodfeather Phoenix on 2. And then if we don't need to do that, we can just Regatha and swing at the Regatha and get it half flipped. Although, I think the Spellspear is too good to not play here. Even though he probably kills it. Alright, kills the Spellspear, that's fine. I think we do it like this, honestly. Even though I'd like to get the Phoenix down, I don't think it's that detrimental. Mr. Feldon. I feel like this is probably best. Yeah. But we are forcing him to eat through his hand, which is nice. Do we Bloodfeather Phoenix? Or do we just Invasion of Regatha? I think we need to get the Bloodfeather Phoenix out now to try and get some removal out of his hand. And then we can bring it back whenever we play End the Festivities.
This is my home, and I don't appreciate it when people touch my home.
That is fine.
Haven't you ever heard of personal space?
Up to one target creature, you say. I think we do this. We do this. Make a decision, friend. And then we activate the Phoenix.
Knew this was a waste of time.
And we swing for 6. Seems kind of strong. I mean, we can do 10 direct to him in our hand. Not in the same turn, but... seems pretty good. Discard a card. I mean, I guess we're discarding Mirrodin Avenged, right? Makes sense to me. And then he's gonna duress us. I mean, I think we still have enough damage. If he doesn't have something else he can do. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. We could get him to 1. Sure. There's 6. We've got an End the Festivities. That's 2. 5. Oh man, so close. Play with fire, that'll do it. Do you have a counterspell, sir? Off 3 lands. Well, when I'm playing with prowess creatures especially, I don't want to be holding back counterspells. I want to be playing my spells on my turn to get them pumped up as much as possible. Obliterating Bolt could be good. What I like about everything we have in here right now is it all hits the head. Or at least can hit the head. End the Festivities hits the head, Seismic Wave can hit the head. Regatha hits the head. I think. I guess we'll just do it like this. And then we can Seismic Wave it. Or we could just attack it, I guess. I think it's better to Seismic Wave it. And then End the Festivities does 3. And then hit for 4. Granted, we are pretty out of gas, but we should be able to win next turn. 4 Inclex. So we hit it for 3 with End the Festivities. Oh yeah, this is beautiful. Prowess, prowess, prowess. Does it have ward? Smash. That worked out pretty well. Kumano. Actually, I think I should have played Swiftspear. Then Kumano play with fire. And then Squee to get the counter from Kumano. But this will be fine. This will work. Cut down? No cut down. That is not what we need. Because we have no way to deal damage right now. We just have all lands ever. Oh my fucking god. Please make me discard some cards. At least I'll have stuff in the yard for Squee. Wow. Okay. Yeah, I know. Keep 7. Hand looks good. Nahiri. Oh, hi, Bandit. You trying to eat all the food? You can't. Nahiri was stuck in rubble of stone and metal. Months passed from the invasion. Nahiri was able to decomplete herself by splitting the metal and stone on the atom and soul level. However, she at first didn't have her spark, but after digging herself out a bit, she found a hedron with her spark in it. She held it tight and properly, got out of the mess she was in. She then sees the destruction she caused. Johnny suddenly pops up to say hi, asking her if they together could fix what they caused and fix themselves. So Nahiri gets her spark back? It's kind of weird. Thought she was desparked. Didn't we see a card for her where she was desparked? Or am I losing my mind? I could just be losing my mind. He let the Spellspear stick? Is he out of his mind? This man's out of his mind. Yeah, do a bunch of damage to me, but then I'm doing insane damage to you. Okay, that is good. I'm not gonna lie. If we had another 1-mana spell, we'd win. 7, 10, 11, 12, 13. We can literally get him to 1. We can literally get him to 1. And that is not enough. 1 is not dead. Let me think. Seismic Wave. Yeah, you get lots of cards. I get it. just have to do it like this. Keep back the blockers. As much as I hate it. Oh god. Okay. We go to 1. But I think we win. Kazumba! Goodbye, friend. Thanks so much for checking out my channel. We're working hard to get to 2,000 subscribers now because we blew right past 1,000. So make sure you like and subscribe. Also, if you'd like more magic deck text, that's somewhere over there. And if you'd like to see what else the channel's been up to lately, that's somewhere over there. Also, subscribe, circle below, do all the things.